I ask this question because it's a very unique question in a way that, in my experience, the vast majority of the black women that I've encountered aren't really into firearms. I have my perception as to why that is. But you have a more unique perspective. You have something that's more relatable. You are a black woman. So from your experience, is there any particular reason why that is the case? Is it unique to black women, or is it something that holistically, as a whole, black people tend to have this mentality towards?
I've actually always been surprised at the number of black people I know that are pro-gun. Gotcha. Because typically in the black community, we vote in one block, we vote as Democrats, and we vote as liberals. And so gun rights aren't really a cornerstone of the Democrat platform. So I've always been surprised at how many black people I know are very adamant about defending their Second Amendment rights. I think it might be more of a woman thing than just a black woman thing. Gotcha. I actually hadn't noticed that before, but I guess, most of the black women in my family don't shoot. But I think it's women. As women, we are nurturers by nature, biologically. It is not within our nature to pick up a weapon. Although if someone does get in between us and our kids,
it's a situation you get forced into.
And that's kind of what I wish women would see about this issue. So is that it is empowering, to go back to that word I tried to use before, but it is this idea of that, when I was faced with the idea of someone coming between me and my children, that is when I decided I was going to use every tool at my disposal to stop that. So I think it's counterintuitive on one hand for women to pick up a weapon that is designed to repel violence with violence. It feels counterintuitive, but I will tell you, ladies, that it is the opposite. I mean, that first time you fire, it is just like,
I love it. No, you're absolutely right. That sense of empowerment. I mean, I think for a lot of people, we subconsciously walk through life just assuming the suit of victimhood. Like, we just assume if something happens, that's so be it. I'm just going to be a victim of that. I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm just going to go through life understanding if it happens, it happened. Things changed for me instantly once I realized the power of a firearm and being able to carry a firearm and use a firearm. And so now, no longer did I look at myself as a potential victim. I looked at myself as somebody who, there's a comfort that comes with the idea that's like, I may not win, but I can actually fight back. Back on a level that, may make somebody second guess whether or not they want to continue fighting me in that sense. So I think the empowerment component of it, I think it's been vilified over and over for years now. But I think, as you pointed out, especially when it comes to women, I think it's something that should be embraced, especially when it's done responsibly.
What really bothers me is that I am a political writer for a living. And so I'm always reporting on what's going on with left versus right stuff. And one thing that has bothered me, as somebody who I would have considered myself a leftist and a liberal, I now am for sure a conservative. That was a journey. And not to put those labels on you, but that's just how I feel.
For ease of communication.
Exactly. And, I report a lot on feminist issues. I was at the Women's March in San Francisco, and a lot of women are in that movement want to tell you on the one hand that all men are predators and that it's their fault and you have no culpability or responsibility in your victimhood, that you are simply at the mercy of these horrible men. And the line that they like to say is, just tell your sons not to rape. Like, instead of teaching women to be empowered, a lot of feminists will say, well, you need to tell your sons not to rape, but clearly that isn't working. So I would say, I definitely tell my son that, and I'm pretty sure he gets it. but there, unfortunately, not every man in the world is like him. And not every man in the world is raised like him. And so what I tell my daughter is to be empowered, to stand up for herself. And listen, a lot of rapists are cowards. And a lot of them, you'll hear story after story about how they will back off when a woman screams or fights back.
Yeah.
They want an easy mark, you know, and all I'm saying for you ladies is don't be the easy mark. I mean, what can be more powerful than that? Yeah, I'm sorry, but when you're walking down the street late at night and you feel threatened by a scary man who might do weird things to you, you saying "don't rape me" is
It's not gonna do much of anything in that sense. Yeah.
no. But when you have a weapon in your hand, you have leveled the playing field. And if you want to talk about equality and women's rights and women's equality, well, nothing equalizes us like a gun in our hand when we need one the most.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. It was absolutely a pleasure speaking with you today. I hope you continue to join us here on the show.
I'd love to come back. I'm a big fan. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
All the time. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, you definitely have a good one, Kira.
All right. You too.
Coming up next, we're going to find out about a California gun case that could impact the whole country. We'll be back.